the team is heading in the right direction. The problem is so much was expected of them because of their good roster that we saw so many flaws on the playoffs. And the regular season compared to the playoffs is so different. Here's Rafael Stone talking about why it's so important to play hard through the regular season, but simply playing hard and relying on that foundation is just not enough come to playoff time.
I think it's less what we learned and more it's a learning opportunity. That's how I think about it, which is like the grind of a series is different from the regular season, and the intensity, just this is a compliment to Ime. My favorite thing about this team is I felt from the beginning of the year to the end of the year we were the hardest playing team in basketball, and that's really a testament to him and his staff, and obviously to our players as well. But that'll get you over in the regular season in a way it won't get you over in the playoffs because everybody plays hard in the playoffs. And so getting our guys to realize that, like not getting them to realize that, them having the opportunity to feel what that's like, I just think it's a tremendous learning opportunity. And some of it we picked up on the fly. We for sure improved through the course of those 7 games. But I think the bulk of that opportunity is to come, where they get a chance to reflect on it and incorporate it and work through the summer and work through next year. So that's more how I think about it.
So with that being said, in Game 7, you can't allow simple opportunities to elude you. And when you miss 32 shots in the lane, look at this shot chart. Look at all the misses in the lane. You're going to miss jumpers. You're going to miss threes. Fine, so be it. But all these misses in the lane, it's unacceptable. You can't have that many. That's 64 points that they left on the court in Game 7 at home against the Warriors. The Warriors are going to make you pay. Buddy Hield did just that. And then Steph Curry went off in the fourth quarter. They did what they do best when it mattered most. Here's what the Rockets need to learn. They need to take it at the opponent. When you go into the lane, don't expect contact hoping to finish. Go in delivering contact, initiating contact, and finish. And if you don't finish, fine. But if you go in initiating, then you're going to get the call, and you're going to finish a lot more often if you initiate the contact and deliver it versus if you go in expecting it and receiving it. Go in as the alpha male. Go in giving that physicality, not taking it. That's what's got to be so different going forward for the Rockets. They got to learn that in the playoffs, it's such different basketball. In the regular season, it's not nearly as physical. It's not nearly as intense, and it's not whistled the same. So I'll bet, just for argument's sakes, 10 of those calls get called in the regular season that don't get fouls in the playoffs. You've got to know that. So just go in and lower your shoulder and finish. Again, deliver that contact. And then let's talk about Alperen Sengun and Jalen Green. What do you want to do first? All right, let's do Alperen Sengun because it's more quick for him. He needs to get his touch to be more consistent. Ime Udoka talks about this all the time, and I think this is kind of one of the micro of all the macro. Be more consistent. You want to be more consistent as a team offensively. You want to be more consistent defensively as a team. But within that, Alperen Sengun's got to be more consistent. He's got to be better in the lane. And his touch, it's weird. It kind of seems to come and go at times, and it was gone in Game 7. He shot the ball horribly, and they're easy shots. That's the problem. When you miss 27 straight threes, as the Rockets did back in the day, like that comes and goes. It's crazy, 0 for 27. But when you live and die by the three, a lot of times you can die. It's hard to live and die by layups and bunnies and hook shots and little baby hook shots, as Alperen likes to do so much. But in that Game 7, he played 40 minutes. He shot 9 of 23, 21 points. Highly inefficient to have 23 shots and only 21 points. So he's got to get a whole lot better. Here are the guys talking about what they want to see from Alpi and what the goal is with him and growing his game for next year.
This offseason, there's not a ton of international stuff, so we'll get to spend a little bit more time with our guys than we did last year with the national team stuff. And so that's the plan as always, and it doesn't stop for us. It's more of the same, and I think you saw the growth with Alpi in a lot of ways, and look for him to take another step, and we'll have specific coaches with him again. And so that's the plan for all our young guys, spend as much time as possible.
Now let's get into Jalen Green. I don't know if this is a hot subject or a contentious subject, but there's so much talent with Jalen, which is what makes it so frustrating watching him play. He was hoping, watching him, it felt like he was hoping the game would come to him. He's got to go get that thing. Like, he's got to grab the game and take over the game. He's got to be aggressive. And don't tell me that it was the Warriors that took him out of the game and that they blitzed him and that was their entire goal. Because we all know that's what it is. That's what you do. That's what you do to Steph Curry. That's what you do to LeBron James and Luka Doncic and Michael Jordan and Scottie Pippen back in the day. Whoever the star player is. But if you allow that to work and you're not effective in 7 games, okay, in 6 games, then you're not a star. Because if taking a guy out of the game was just that simple, there would be no superstars in the league. There'd be no stars. Jalen afterwards talked about the fact he's got to be more aggressive. He's got to be better. Here's what he said.
Just being aggressive. Can't let a team take me out of the game, no matter what the scheme is. I got to continue to go out there, be myself. I just didn't do that.
Okay, but you got to have that revelation after game 1 and then come out and do what he did in game 2, 38 points. But then what happened in game 3, in game 4, in game 5, in game 6, in game 7, like several games? Jalen's got to be better in at least one of them. He was just non-existent, and I know he played good defense, so give credit where credit is due. But you can't be the best offensive perimeter player and be virtually irrelevant. And he's not really making that many plays for other people. Yes, he's getting a hockey assist. Yes, he's doing some things. So he's not literally invisible. But if you're going to be the best perimeter player on the Rockets, you've got to be noticed for something positive. Too often he wasn't. And too often we talked about it as his first time in the playoffs. Okay, but we won 7 games. Like, he had to get his feet wet at some point. He's also been in the league for 4 years. When you're in the NFL and you start talking about rookies, by week 10 or 11, every veteran and every coach will say they're no longer rookies. Those guys are no longer rookies after X amount of weeks in the league, let alone 4 years in the NBA. 4 years times 82 is however many games they've now played. Jalen has to be better, or I'm wrong. And if I'm wrong, that means my standard is too high for Jalen. Like, it's not, Jalen isn't exceeding his contract. Once you get that contract, you've got to play up to that contract. He didn't do that. He didn't do it on the biggest stage when they needed him most. And to his credit, he knows it. But it's not a one and done. This isn't the NCAA tournament or the NFL playoffs where, like, you now have a year to reflect. You had 2 nights after game 1. Kudo showed up in game 2. You had a night after game 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. And it just never clicked. It never happened. I don't know if Ime should have benched him or played him less, or he didn't play a whole lot in game 6. I don't know what the coaching answer is, and I don't go after coaches for minutes because minutes are determined primarily in practice and what guys do. And listen, Ime knows the game a whole lot better than you do or I do combined. So I don't know that he didn't make the right call, but I think because there's so much to be had with Jalen's game that you hope it finally clicks, and it happens because he did it during the regular season. He was valuable to this team in the regular season so many times. But as we saw, it's different in the playoffs. Here's what Ime and Rafael said about Jalen at the end of the year press conference.
Jalen didn't have the series that he wanted to have, or we didn't. But I think, you know, it's a little bit of a double-edged sword in terms of trying to evaluate it, because their goal going into the series was to take him out, and that was obvious. One playoff series doesn't define a player, but also I think in particular with him and that, yeah, like if a team's going after you like that, they're going after you like that.
It's a compliment to him that teams will go after him to that extent, and you saw it throughout the season. He had, some practice at it, and we got better at it. We went through some growing pains, no doubt. I think physically getting stronger to absorb contact on some of his drives when he has the advantage, or finishing at the rim when he does get the driving lane. All those things are things